Hello, sleepy soul. Welcome to Midnight Talks. I'm your storyteller tonight, your host in the dark. If you enjoy the tales I whisper, don't forget to subscribe so I don't get lost in this endless crowd. Now, let's begin our story. The Lake That Whispers. The first scream came from the water. It was a wet, gurgling cry, like someone drowning and praying at the same time. And it echoed through the cypress trees until even the night frogs stopped singing. In the small Louisiana town of Marrow Hollow, people didn't go near Blackwater Lake after dark. The surface looked still, but sometimes ripples formed without wind. Locals said it was the souls of those who drowned there, whispering for company. But for Evelyn Rhodes, the lake wasn't a legend. It was home. She'd grown up on its edge in a weathered cabin that smelled of cedar and tobacco, raised by her grandfather, who used to mutter warnings every night before bed. Don't go near the water when it calls your name, Evie. Some voices ain't meant for answering. Evelyn used to laugh at him, but after he passed, she heard it. A low melodic hum from the lake, soft as breath, whispering her name through the reeds. She didn't tell anyone, until Noah Hale arrived. He came to Marrow Hollow one August morning, camera strapped across his chest, the sun sweating on his back. A documentary filmmaker from New York, chasing forgotten American legends. When he stopped at the diner and mentioned Blackwater Lake, forks froze midair. "You don't film that place," said the waitress. "You stay the hell away." Noah smiled, thinking it was superstition, exactly what his documentary needed. That's when he met Evelyn. She was sitting alone at the counter, stirring cold coffee, wearing an old denim jacket and boots that looked too heavy for her small frame. Her eyes, though, lake green and far away, stopped him mid-sentence. "You're not from around here," she said without looking up. "Guess it shows," Noah replied, grinning. "You're here for the water." "The legend, yeah." "It's not a legend." She left the bill unpaid. He followed her outside. Evelyn led Noah down the trail that wound through the swamp, where sunlight broke through the moss like cracked glass. The air was thick with humidity and cicadas. "You really think the lake's cursed?" Noah asked. "I don't think." I know they stopped at the water's edge. It looked black, not from depth, but from something darker beneath, like oil moving slowly just under the surface. Evelyn knelt and touched it with her fingertips. "People say it took my father. Took my mother, too." Same night Noah raised his camera but didn't film. "You saw it happen?" "No, but I hear them sometimes." "Hear who?" "Them." In the water, the breeze shifted. The lake rippled. Once. Then Evelyn whispered, "It's listening." That night, Noah couldn't sleep. He rented a small cabin near the water. For research, he told himself. Around midnight, he heard it too. A voice, soft, feminine, almost singing, somewhere between the reeds and the fog. "Noah!" He stumbled out barefoot, flashlight trembling in his hand. The beam cut through the mist. Nothing. Then ripples appeared, wide and pulsing toward him. He backed up. His foot hit something. Evelyn. She was already standing there, barefoot, staring at the lake. Her eyes were glassy, like she was sleepwalking. "Evelyn, what the hell?" "It's calling you now," she said, voice flat. Something splashed in the distance. A shape, pale and long-haired, surfaced for a moment, then slipped silently beneath. Noah froze. "Was that—" "Don't say it," Evelyn hissed. "If you say her name, she'll come closer." "Whose name?" "The woman in the water." Evelyn told him the story the next day. In 1968, a woman named Clara Beaumont was found drowned in Blackwater Lake on her wedding night. Some said she was pushed. Others whispered she walked in herself after her fiancé vanished. The body was recovered, but her face wasn't. They buried a veil instead. Ever since, men who came near the lake heard her voice calling them by name. Always men, always near midnight. A few never came back. Noah thought it was folklore, but the recording said otherwise. When he played back his camera audio from the night before, the whisper was there, "Noah, come home," in a tone that wasn't Evelyn's. He didn't tell her. Instead, he asked her to help him document the history, interviews, town records, folklore. It became their project. Days turned into nights, nights into something softer. She'd bring him black coffee at dawn. He'd fix her generator when the storm hit. The small moments grew heavy with silence, like both of them were afraid to admit the pull between them. One night while reviewing footage, Evelyn leaned in close. Their hands brushed. The hum from the lake rose outside, faint and rhythmic, almost like a heartbeat. They kissed, and the power went out. The generator sputtered. The air turned cold. Outside, the lake glowed faintly, not from moonlight, but from something under the surface. Evelyn clutched Noah's arm. "She's awake." The whisper came again, louder this time, carrying through the trees. "Noah?" Noah stepped toward the window. Something moved beneath the water, the shape of a woman rising, her skin slick and black as ink. Her mouth opened, and Evelyn screamed. He turned. She was gone. The door to the lake was open. By the time he reached the shore, the fog was so thick he could barely see her silhouette. Evelyn stood knee-deep in the water, staring downward. "Evelyn, get out!" "She says you're hers now," Evelyn whispered, tears streaking down her face. "That she waited for you." The water around her legs turned dark, not muddy but red. Noah grabbed her, pulling hard. The water resisted, as if holding her down. Then suddenly she broke free, gasping, clutching her side. "You saw her," Noah said, panting. "I saw me," Evelyn whispered. "Down there." The ripples stilled. The air grew silent again. But the whisper didn't stop. It only sank lower, into their dreams. Blackwater, Part 2, The Eyes Beneath the Surface. Dawn came pale and heavy. The fog didn't lift from Blackwater Lake that morning. It clung to the trees like a shroud, thick and wet, as if the air itself didn't want to breathe. Noah woke in Evelyn's cabin with the sound of water dripping from the roof. His shirt was damp, his throat raw from shouting her name all night. Evelyn lay on the couch wrapped in a blanket, trembling. "You were bleeding," he said quietly. "It wasn't blood," she whispered. "It was her." Noah frowned. "Her?" Evelyn looked at him, eyes hollow. "Clara, the woman from the lake." They spent the next day in silence. Noah reviewed his footage. Every frame around the lake came out distorted, like heat waves rippling through the image. In one clip, a pair of eyes glowed for a split second just below the surface, pale and glassy, staring directly at the camera. He replayed it 3 times before Evelyn spoke. "That's where she waits," she murmured, "under the cypress roots. I used to see bubbles there when I was a kid." "Why didn't you leave?" "Because she won't let anyone leave." The screen flickered again, static crawling across the pixels. A faint voice bled through the audio. "Come closer." Noah shut off the laptop. "It's probably interference," he said. "Or invitation," Evelyn whispered. By evening, thunder rolled in. The storm hit hard, slamming rain against the windows. The power flickered and died again. Evelyn lit a single oil lamp, its flame trembling. "She always comes with the storms," Evelyn said. Noah tried to lighten the mood, but the air between them felt electric, heavy with things unsaid. Fear, guilt, something deeper. He reached out and took her hand. We can leave tomorrow, he said. She'll follow. Then we'll keep moving. Evelyn looked up at him. You don't understand. She thinks you belong to her. The wind howled. Outside, something slammed against the door. Once, twice. Noah grabbed a flashlight and swung it open. Nothing but rain and reeds. But then, faintly, footprints appeared in the mud, barefoot, leading down toward the lake. Stay inside, he ordered. Noah, lock the door. He followed the prints down the path. The rain came sideways, cold and sharp. At the shore, the water was still, too still. His flashlight beam cut across the surface. And there she was, a woman's face floating just beneath the water, eyes wide open, hair drifting like dark smoke. Her mouth moved silently, words forming under the surface. He knelt, heart pounding. The water shimmered, and she surfaced. She looked almost human, pale skin stretched over bone, lips blue, eyes clouded but somehow seeing. She smiled, a slow, unnatural curve. Noah, she said. Her voice was wet and low, gurgling from her throat. I've been waiting. He stumbled backward. The mud sucked at his boots. Who are you? You know me, she crooned. You promised me the night I died. Lightning split the sky, and for a moment he saw another version of her face beneath the first, flickering between beauty and rot. Clara, he whispered. Her hand broke the surface, thin, white fingers reaching for him. The moment he spoke her name, the wind stopped. Evelyn's scream cut through the silence. He turned. She was at the edge of the trees, soaked, eyes wide with terror. Noah, run! The water erupted. Something massive rising beneath, dragging mud and reeds into the air. Noah stumbled back as the shape broke through. Long arms, tangled hair, a mouth opening too wide. Evelyn grabbed him, and they ran, slipping through the mud toward the cabin. The door slammed behind them. For a long time they didn't speak. Only the sound of their breathing filled the dark. Finally, Evelyn said, You said her name. Now she knows you remember. Remember what? You were here before. The words hung there. Noah stared at her. What are you talking about? Evelyn's hands trembled as she unwrapped a bundle from beneath the couch. An old photograph, faded and water-stained. It showed a couple by the lake. A woman in a white dress, a man with dark hair and familiar eyes. That's her, Noah said, pointing. Clara Beaumont. And that, Evelyn whispered, is you. His stomach dropped. The man in the photo looked exactly like him. Same jawline, same eyes, same birthmark on his wrist. It's impossible, he muttered. The lake doesn't let go of what it wants, she said. Maybe it brought you back. The storm raged through the night. Noah couldn't sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Clara's face beneath the water, mouthing his name. At dawn, he walked outside. The air was thick and still, heavy with rot. Evelyn followed him, silent. If what you're saying is true, he said, then she thinks I left her. You did, Evelyn said softly. 57 years ago. Noah turned. How would you know that? She looked away. Because I was there too. He stared at her. Evelyn. My grandmother was the child they found crying on the dock that night, she said, but she used to say I had Clara's eyes. Sometimes I dream things I shouldn't know. Her voice, her pain. Maybe I'm her echo. Noah felt the world tilt. Then what does she want from me? What every ghost wants, Evelyn said, to finish the story. The lake rippled. A single bubble broke the surface, then another like something exhaling beneath the water. Noah's reflection blurred, and for a heartbeat, another face looked back at him from the surface. His own, but older, drowned, smiling. That night they sat together by the dying fire. Evelyn rested her head on his shoulder. Maybe she'll stop if we forgive her, she said. Or maybe she'll only stop when she gets what she wants. Outside, the wind had calmed, but the whisper returned. Softer, more intimate now. Come back to me, Noah. Evelyn tightened her grip on his hand. She's inside you now, she said. I can feel it. He turned to her, his eyes reflecting the lamplight, shimmering darkly. Then maybe I'll let her in. Black Water, Part 3. The Depths Remember. The next morning, the storm had left the bayou drowning in silence. The lake was flat as glass, but its color had changed, a deep, metallic black that swallowed light instead of reflecting it. Noah stood on the porch, staring out at the water. He hadn't slept. Evelyn could see it in his face, the shadows beneath his eyes, the faint tremor in his hands. You should eat something, she said quietly. I'm not hungry. You're shaking. Because I dreamed her again. Evelyn hesitated. What did you see? A wedding, he said. At the lake. I was wearing that same suit as the man in the photograph. Clara was there, in her dress. But when I kissed her, water poured out of her mouth. Evelyn shivered. She's trying to pull you back into her memory. Or mine, he said softly. Maybe it's not her haunting me. Maybe it's what I did to her. They drove into town that afternoon, a desperate attempt to feel normal. The people of Murray Hollow watched them the way the living watch ghosts. At the old archives, Noah asked for the Beaumont file. The clerk frowned. That case is sealed. Why? Because the fiancé confessed. Said he pushed her. Noah froze. Who was he? The clerk pulled out an old record book, yellowed pages creaking open. She pointed to a line written in faded ink. Fiancé, Noah Hale. He stumbled back, breath catching. It's not possible, Evelyn said. It's my name, he whispered. Same handwriting, same date. August 17th, 1968. They drove back in silence. The wind had picked up again, scattering leaves across the dirt road. When they reached the cabin, the front door was open. Inside, the walls were wet, dripping like the room itself had been submerged. Evelyn stepped forward, her boots sinking slightly into the soaked wood. The smell of the lake was everywhere, damp, metallic, and faintly sweet. On the wall, someone had drawn a message with muddy fingers. You promised me forever. Evelyn touched it, trembling. She's inside the house. That night, Noah sat by the fireplace, staring into the flames. If I really did kill her, he murmured, then maybe she deserves this. No, Evelyn said sharply. You're not him. You're a reflection, a second chance. He turned to her. And what are you? Maybe the same. Maybe the lake's rewriting the story, giving her another version of him and me another chance to stop it. They were quiet a long moment. Then Evelyn leaned closer. The firelight danced across her face. Soft, amber, alive. If she takes you, she whispered, I'll follow. He kissed her, slow, desperate, like the world was ending outside the door. And maybe it was. Sometime after midnight, the fire went out. The cabin temperature dropped. Noah woke with his chest cold, his clothes damp. Evelyn was gone. He ran outside. Fog again, thick as before. The moon hung low, red as blood. Down by the lake, she stood at the edge, wearing a white dress that wasn't hers. Evelyn! She turned, smiling faintly, but her eyes were wrong. Too calm, too distant. She said she just wanted to see you, Evelyn whispered. She said it wouldn't hurt. The surface behind her rippled. A pale arm rose from the water, fingers brushing her ankle. Evelyn didn't move. Don't, Noah shouted. Don't let her. Too late. The water surged, pulling Evelyn under in one violent motion. He dove in after her. The lake swallowed him whole. It was colder than anything he'd ever felt. Not temperature, but absence. Like being erased. He opened his eyes under the water. Shapes moved in the darkness. Old faces, pale hands, dresses drifting in the current. He saw Evelyn sinking below, her hair fanning like ink. He reached for her, but another hand caught his wrist. Clara. She was beautiful again. Young, whole, eyes glowing softly in the blackness. "You came back," she whispered, her voice carrying perfectly through the water. "Let her go," he choked. "I waited, Noah," she said. "You promised we'd be together. You ran. You left me to drown." "That wasn't me." "It was. It always will be." She kissed him, cold, endless, drowning him in her memory. The world shifted. Suddenly he was standing on the dock. 1968. The sky was pink with sunset. Clara stood before him, alive, holding a bouquet. "You're shaking," she said, smiling. I don't remember this," Noah said, voice trembling. "You promised to love me. You swore on the lake. Clara, something went wrong. You died. Because you let me," she whispered. "And now you'll stay." The lake reflected them perfectly, until his reflection blinked on its own. Then it reached up from the water and pulled him under. Noah gasped awake on the shore. It was morning again. His clothes were dry, his skin unmarked. But Evelyn was still gone. He stood, dizzy, disoriented. The air shimmered, faint ripples passing across the ground like underwater light. The lake was silent, except for a single whisper that came from deep within it. "Choose, Noah. One of us stays. One of us sinks." He spent the next hours combing the shoreline, calling her name. Then he found something. Evelyn's necklace, tangled in a root, its chain blackened like it had burned. He fell to his knees. "Please," he whispered to the lake, "take me instead." The water rippled. Slowly a figure surfaced. Not Clara, not Evelyn, but both. Her face shifted, flickering between the two women, one moment loving, the next vengeful. "You can't separate us anymore," she said, voice layered and hollow. He backed away. "What are you?" "Everything you tried to forget." Her eyes opened, twin voids swirling with the reflection of the dock. "Come home, Noah." The ground beneath him trembled. Water poured up through the soil like veins bursting. The cabin behind him began to groan and tilt, foundations giving way. He ran, but every step sank deeper into the earth, soft and sucking like the swamp itself was trying to claim him. At last, he collapsed at the edge of the trees, chest heaving. When he looked back, the cabin was half submerged, the lake swallowing it whole. Only the roof remained, and a single figure standing on it. Evelyn. "Evelyn!" She turned her head, slow and mechanical. Her lips parted, and Clara's voice answered, "She's gone. I'm what's left." The roof sank beneath the surface, taking her with it. Noah screamed her name until the fog devoured his voice. That night, alone and broken, he sat on the bank until sunrise. The water was calm again. Nothing stirred. He whispered, "I'm not leaving without you." The lake whispered back, "Then don't." Part 4. The Bride Beneath the Moon. The moon rose swollen and low that night, the color of rust and blood, and the lake caught its reflection perfectly, as if it had been waiting all day to mirror something alive. Noah didn't sleep. He sat on the same rotting dock where it all began, his hands shaking around a lantern that barely kept its flame. The air felt heavier than usual, pressing down like invisible hands. "If you're still in there, Evelyn," he whispered, "give me a sign." The water stirred, just once. A single ripple spread out and vanished. He stood. The lantern flickered. The air smelled faintly of lavender. Evelyn's perfume. "I'm here." came a voice behind him. He turned. Evelyn stood barefoot at the edge of the trees, her hair wet and tangled, her dress clinging to her body. She looked the same, almost, but her eyes were darker, and when she smiled, it didn't reach them. "You're alive," he breathed, stepping toward her. Was I ever not? Something about her voice made his skin crawl. "Where did you go?" "She showed me," Evelyn whispered. "She showed me the wedding, the drowning, the promise you broke. And now she wants to finish it." "Finish what?" "The ceremony." She led him into the clearing. There, among the cypress roots, stood an old wooden arch wrapped in moss and dead flowers, half buried, half sunken, a relic of the past. "You built this," she said softly, 57 years ago. "Evelyn, listen to me." "No," she interrupted, her tone trembling. "You need to see it through. If we do, maybe she'll finally rest." The moonlight shimmered over the water. For a second, he thought he saw another figure standing beside her. Clara, in the same soaked wedding gown, holding a bouquet of rotted lilies. The air grew colder. The wind stopped. "Say the word," Evelyn said. "What words?" "The vow." Her voice deepened, doubled. Clara's voice overlapping hers. "Say it, Noah. Say you'll love me forever." He shook his head. "No, not like this." The ground beneath them pulsed, the mud bubbling, breathing. The lake's surface started to glow faintly, like veins of blue light spreading outward. "You already did once," Clara hissed through Evelyn's lips. "And when you broke it, I drowned." The roots around the arch twisted, curling like fingers. They wrapped around Noah's ankles, pulling tight. "Evelyn!" he shouted. "Fight her!" For a moment her eyes cleared. She looked at him, truly looked, and whispered, "Run!" But the roots yanked him to his knees. Water surged from the lake, flooding the clearing. Within seconds it was up to his chest. Evelyn stood above him, motionless. The moon reflected in her pupils like two silver coins. Clara's voice came again, soft and deadly. "It doesn't matter how many times I drown. He always finds me, always loves me, always kills me." "That wasn't me," Noah gasped, struggling. "That was him." "You are him," she hissed. "The lake keeps bringing you back to remember what you did." He felt the pull again, that strange tug in his chest, like a memory trying to surface. Images flashed in his mind. A fight by the dock, Clara screaming, his hands pushing her away. Then the splash, her eyes staring up through black water. He fell forward, choking. "No, you left me," she said simply. "Now you'll stay." The floodwater rose to his chin. Then Evelyn moved. She waded through the water and knelt beside him. Her face was torn between two women, Clara's anguish and her own fear. Tears streamed down her cheeks. "If one of us stays," she whispered, "let it be me." "No," Noah croaked. "I won't lose you too." "You already did." She leaned forward and kissed him, gentle, trembling. And for a second he saw the girl from the diner again, the one who stirred her coffee and never looked up. Then she pushed him backward into the water. Everything went black. He sank deeper and deeper. The light from above dimmed to nothing. The lake opened like a mouth, swallowing him whole. He didn't struggle. He thought of Evelyn's hands, her laughter, the way she looked at him, like he was more than his curse. When he opened his eyes, he was standing again, dry, breathing, on the dock. Only it wasn't the dock of now. It was 1968 again. The wedding night, lanterns glowing, Clara waiting in her gown. "We can try again," she said sweetly. "This time, don't leave." He turned. Evelyn stood behind her, wearing the same dress. Their faces flickered between one another like reflections on rippling water. "Choose," they said together. He fell to his knees. "I can't." The lake began to boil. steam rising in ghostly tendrils. The wooden arch burst into flame, burning bright against the night. "Choose!" Clara screamed. "Who lives? Who dies?" Evelyn reached for him. "Don't listen. She feeds on regret. She feeds on love," Clara corrected. Both voices merged, vibrating in his skull until blood dripped from his nose. "Stop!" he roared. "Stop this!" "Then choose," they whispered in unison. He looked from one to the other. Both faces, both memories, both pieces of the same endless curse. Finally he said, "I choose her." "Who?" they both said at once. "The one who's alive." The air shattered. Clara screamed, the sound splitting the night. The flames vanished. Her body began to unravel into ribbons of black smoke, dissolving into the water. Evelyn collapsed, gasping, her eyes clearing. Noah crawled to her, holding her as the lake quieted. "It's over," she whispered weakly. "It has to be." The moonlight dimmed. The surface of the lake went still. For the first time in decades, it looked like nothing but water. He kissed her forehead. "Let's go home." They stumbled back to the cabin, half flooded, half standing. The air smelled like rain and ashes. For a while, everything felt almost normal again. But just before dawn, as Noah drifted to sleep, he heard a faint humming under the floorboards. A woman's voice. "You can't kill what's part of you." Part 5. The Last Reflection. The morning after felt strange. The sun rose pale and hollow over Blackwater Lake, its light weak and watery, like it too was afraid of touching the surface. Evelyn sat wrapped in a blanket near the fireplace. She looked exhausted, but alive. Her skin had color again, her breath visible in the cool dawn. Noah brewed coffee in silence, hands trembling slightly. Neither of them spoke of the night before. Neither dared to look out the window. Still, the faint hum lingered under the floorboards. The ghost's lullaby. "Do you hear that?" Evelyn whispered. "No," Noah lied. He wanted to believe it was over. He wanted to believe love had conquered the curse. But somewhere deep in his chest, something still felt wrong. By midday, the air grew hot and humid again, the calm before another storm. The lake outside shimmered unnaturally. Too dark, too smooth. Evelyn touched the glass, peering out. "It looks deeper than before." "It always does," Noah murmured. She turned to him. "What if she's not gone?" "Then we'll leave." "Tonight? Can we?" Evelyn's voice broke. "What if the lake doesn't let us?" He didn't answer. They spent the afternoon packing what little they had. Every noise, the creak of wood, the flutter of curtains, felt like a whisper. When Noah stepped outside to start the truck, the smell hit him first. Wet earth, stagnant and metallic, like blood mixed with rain. The air shimmered. He glanced toward the lake. For a second he saw her again, Clara, standing waist-deep in the water, her veil floating like white smoke. But her body wasn't solid this time. She was more reflection than flesh, shimmering on the surface. She lifted one hand. Her ring gleamed, the same ring he had buried 57 years ago. "No," he muttered. "No more." The truck wouldn't start. The engine sputtered, died, then hissed like a breath escaping a body. He turned back toward the cabin and froze. Evelyn was gone. The front door stood wide open, curtains blowing inward. A trail of wet footprints led across the floorboards and out the back door, straight toward the water. "Evelyn!" he shouted, bolting after her. His boots splashed through the mud as thunder rumbled overhead. The air grew colder, the clouds swirling into a tight spiral. He reached the dock. Evelyn stood at the edge, staring into the lake. Her hair whipped in the wind, her reflection trembling below. "She's calling me," she whispered. "Don't listen," he pleaded. "It's not her voice." She turned. Her eyes were glazed, unfocused. "It's our voice." The water behind her rippled, and a shape began to rise, pale, feminine, wearing the same wedding dress that had sunk years ago. Clara's spirit emerged, dripping black water. The veil clung to her face like skin. "You took my love," she rasped. "So I took yours." Lightning cracked overhead. The lake churned like boiling tar. "Evelyn, step back," Noah shouted. "Don't fight it," Clara whispered. "It's the only way we all end this." Evelyn's voice echoed, but there were two tones now, hers and Clara's overlapping. "It's not the lake that's cursed, it's you." The realization hit Noah like a cold blade. All the lives, all the faces, they weren't separate stories. The lake had been showing him his own sins across lifetimes. He was the one who kept coming back. Each time he fell in love. Each time love drowned. He looked down at his reflection and saw not himself, but them all. The husband who drowned his bride in jealousy, the soldier who returned too late, the man who fled before the vows. Every mistake, every death, every regret fused together beneath the water. "You made me," Clara hissed. "You made us," Evelyn whispered.